Shalom, my beautiful brothers and sisters in Yahuwah Elohim, and welcome to our Midweek Bible study. Tonight, we're going to be studying Shophetim, which is Judges, and we'll be doing chapters 7, 8, and 9. So go ahead and grab your Bibles, because I need you to read along with me while I read it to you, so that way you hear it with your ears and you see it with your eyes, and it helps you to learn. Okay? Hope everybody's having a good week. It's getting halfway now. We can almost see over the edge to Shabbat. We're getting there. So let's go ahead and get into tonight's study. I'll grab a drink of water while y'all are getting ready to go, and we'll get started. All right, gang. Let's get started tonight. Everybody comfy? You all set? Okay, let's get going. Shophetim, which is Judges, chapter 7. And Yerubbaal, that is Gideon, and all the people who were with him rose up early and encamped by the fountain of Harod, so that the camp of Midian was on the north side of them by the hill of Moreh in the valley. And Yahuwah said to Gideon, the people who are with you are too many for me to give Midian into their hands, lest Yisrael boasts against me, saying, my own hand has saved me. So instead of giving Yahuwah the glory of the battle, they'd end up taking it for themselves because there's so many of them. So, time to shed some skin on this. Verse 3. Now proclaim in the hearing of the people, saying, whoever is afraid and trembling, let him turn back and leave Mount Gilead. And 22,000 of the people turned back, while 10,000 remained. So 2/3 of them left. And Yahuwah said to Gideon, the people are still too many. Bring them down to the water, and let me prove them for you there. And it shall be, that of whom I say to you, this one goes with you, let him go with you. And of whomever I say to you, this one does not go with you, let him not go. So he brought the people down to the water, and Yahuwah said to Gideon, everyone who laps the water with his tongue, as a dog laps, separate him from everyone who bows down on his knees to drink. And the number of those who lapped, putting their hand to their mouth, was 300 men, and all the rest of the people bowed down on their knees to drink water. And Yahuwah said to Gideon, by the 300 men who lapped I save you, and shall give Midian into your hand. Let all the other people go, each to his own place. Now you got to see what's going on here. The people that bent down and they took the water in their hand and they drank it like this had situational awareness. They could see around them. They were situationally aware. The ones that stuck their face in the water, they weren't paying attention to anything except for drinking water. So Yah was like, I want those guys that are situationally observing things around them. I want them to go fight. Send everybody else home. Verse 8. And the people took food and their shopherots. The shofar, is just plural of shofar, in their hands. And he sent away all the rest of Yisrael, each to his tent, but held on to those 300 men. Now the camp of Midian was below him in the valley. And it came to be on that night that Yahuwah said to him, arise, go down against the camp, for I have given it into your hand. But if you are afraid to go down, you and Peruah, your servant, to the camp. And you shall hear what they say. And after that, let your hands be strengthened, and you shall go down against the camp. So he went down with Peruah, his servant, to the edge of the formation of fives who were in the camp. So they snuck down to the perimeter of the camp. And just him and his servant Peruah were just hanging out listening. And they were listening to what everybody was saying in the camp. Verse 12. And Midian and Amalek and all the people of the east were lying in the valley, as many as locusts, and their camels were as numerous as the sands by the seashore. And Gideon came, and see, a man was relating a dream to his companion, and said, See, I had a dream. See, a loaf of barley bread tumbled into the camp of Midian, and it came to a tent, and struck it, so that it fell and overturned, and the tent fell down. And his companion answered, and said, This is nil else, that the sword of Gideon, son of Joash, a man of Israel, Elohim has given Midian and all the camp into his hand. So these guys are already having doubts, okay? They're not like, yeah, we're going to go and we're going to take them all out. No, they're like, wow, we don't know about this. This is probably a bad idea. So their morale is not great. Verse 15, and it came to be, when Gideon heard this dream related, and its interpretation, that he bowed himself down, and he returned to the camp of Israel, and said, Arise, for Yahuwah has given the camp of Midian into your hand. And he divided the 300 men into 3 companies, and he put shofar into the hands of all of them, so each one of them had a shofar, with empty jars and torches inside the jars. Okay, so clay jars with torches inside of them, so not the light wouldn't shine out of them. Verse 17, and he said to them, Watch me and do likewise, and see, when I come to the edge of the camp, do as I do. And I shall blow with the shofar, I and all those with me. Then you shall also blow with the shofarot round about all the camp, and say, For Yahuwah and for Gideon. So they're going to surround the camp and blow the shofar. Verse 19, and Gideon and the 100 men who were with him came to the edge of the camp at the beginning of the middle watch, as they had but newly posted the watch. And they blew with the shofarot, and broke the jars that were in their hands. Okay, so all of them blew with the shofar, and then they busted those jars so that they could pull the torches out. Verse 20, and the 3 companies blew with the shofarot, and broke their jars, and held the torches in their left hands, and the shofarot in their right hands for blowing. And they cried, For Yahuwah and for Gideon. And each stood in his place round about the camp, and all the army ran, and cried out, and fled. And the 300 blew the shofarot, and Yahuwah set the sword of each one against the other throughout all the camp, and the army fled to Beth Shittah, toward Tisarah, as far as the border of Abel Meholah by Tabbath. Okay, so as soon as they blew the shofarot and they broke the jars and pulled out the torches, then Yahuwah put confusion in the camp, and they all started killing each other. Verse 23, and the men of Israel were called from Naphtali, and from Asher, and from all Manasseh, and pursued Midian, all of Manasseh, both sides of the river. They are called up. Verse 24, then Gideon sent messengers throughout all the mountains of Ephraim, saying, Come down to meet Midian, and capture from them the watering places, as far as Beth Barah and the Yarden. So all the men of Ephraim were called, and captured the watering places as far as Beth Barah and the Yarden. The soldiers were probably thirsty from their pursuit, and instead of being able to stop and drink, they got headed off at the pass. Verse 25, and they captured 2 princes of Midian, Oreb and Zeeb, and killed Oreb at the rock of Oreb, and Zeeb they killed at the winepress of Zareb, while they pursued Midian. And they brought the heads of Oreb and Zeeb to Gideon beyond the Jordan. Okay, so they killed these two kings, and they brought their heads. See, you guys, this is what we got going on here. Yeah, biblical manhood. Biblical manhood. That's David with Goliath's head. Biblical manhood. Chapter 8. And the men of Ephraim said to him, What is this you have done to us by not calling us when you went to fight with Midian? And they contended with him sharply. So Ephraim was chapped because Gideon didn't call them into the party until later on. Verse 2, And he said to them, What have I done as compared with you? Are the gleanings of Ephraim not better than the grape harvest of Abiezer? And Elohim has given into your hands the princes of Midian, Oreb and Zeeb. And what was I able to do as compared with you? And when he had said that, their rage towards him subsided. So he's like, guys, I called you up in time to take out the princes. What are you complaining about? Verse 4, And Gideon and the 300 men who were with him came to the Jordan, passing over, weary, yet pursuing. And he said to the men of Succoth, Please give loaves of bread to the people who follow me, for they are weary, and I am pursuing Zebah and Talsmunna, sovereigns of Midian, kings of Midian. But the leaders of Succoth said, Are the hands of Zebah and Talsmunna now in your hand, that we should give bread to your army? Have you guys already defeated them? If you haven't defeated them, we ain't giving you any bread because you're probably all going to be killed and it'd be a waste of our bread. Nice guys, huh? Verse 7, And Gideon said, Because of this, when Yahuwah has given Zebah and Talsmunna into my hand, I shall tear your flesh with the thorns of the wilderness and with briars. And he, excuse me. And he went up from there to Penuel and spoke to them in the same way. And the men of Penuel answered him as the men of Succoth had answered him. So he spoke also to the men of Penuel, saying, When I come back in peace, I shall break down this tower. And Zebah and Talsmunna were at Kirachor, and their armies with them, about 15,000 men, all who were left, all the armies of the people of the east. Now those who had already fallen were 120,000 men who drew the sword. So they took out the chunk of the army already. There's only 15,000 guys left. They killed 120,000 men already. So the army's been diminished a lot. Verse 11, And Gideon went up by the way of those who dwell in tents on the east of Nobah and Jogbehah, and he struck the camp while the camp was at ease. They were all resting. And Zebah and Talsmunna fled, and he pursued them, and captured the two sovereigns of Midian, Zebah and Talsmunna, and shuttered the entire army. Once he caught the two sovereigns, the army just fell apart. Verse 13, And Gideon, son of Joash, returned from battle, from the ascent of Heres, and captured a youth of the men of Succoth, and questioned him. So the youth wrote down for him the leaders of Succoth, and its elders, 77 men. So they caught this kid that was coming out of Succoth, and said, Hey, who is this that we're looking for? And the kid said, and he spilled his guts. Verse 15, And he came to the men of Succoth, and said, See, Zebah and Talsmunna, about whom you taunted me, saying, Are the hands of Zebah and Talsmunna now in your hand, that we should give bread to your men who are weary? And he took the elders of the city, and thorns of the wilderness, and briars, and with them he taught the men of Succoth a lesson. And he broke down the tower of Penuel, and killed the men of the city. And he said to Zebah and Zalmunna, How were the men whom you killed at Tabor? So they answered, They were like you. Each one looked like the son of a sovereign. They looked like sons of kings. They were all his brothers. They're Gideon's brothers. And he said, verse 19, and he said, They were my brothers, the sons of my mother. As Yahuwah lives, if you had let them live, I would not kill you. And he said to Jether, his firstborn, Rise, kill them. But the youth would not draw his sword, for he was afraid, because he was still a youth. Then Zebah and Zalmunna said, Rise yourself and fall on us, for as a man is, so is his might. So Gideon arose and killed Zebah and Zalmunna, and took their crescent ornaments, which were on their camels' necks. Now remember when all this started. Gideon was just trying to make a loaf of bread, because he was hungry, but he was afraid the Midians were going to come and steal his loaf of bread. The guy was totally chill. He was all mellow. But because Yahuwah called him to do this and empowered him and blessed him with the ability to do all of this, he has now, killed a lot of people. Righteous anger. And Yahuwah has put him on the path. Verse 22. So the men of Israel said to Gideon, Rule over us, both you and your son, also your son's son, for you have saved us from the hand of Midian. But Gideon said to them, I do not rule over you, nor does my son rule over you. Yahuwah does rule over you. So he's given all the glory to Yah, as he should. Verse 24, and Gideon said to them, I have a request to make of you, that each of you give me the ring from his spoil. For they had rings of gold, because they were Ishmaelites. Ishmael. Islam. Ishmael. They were Ishmaelites. Verse 25, and they said, We shall certainly give them. And they spread out a garment, and each man threw into it the ring from his spoil. And the weight of the gold rings that he requested was 1,700 pieces of gold, beside the crescent ornaments, and the pendants, and the purple robes which were on the sovereigns of Midian, and beside the chains that were around their camels' necks. A lot of gold. Verse 27, and Gideon made it into a shoulder garment, and set it up in his city, Ophrah. And all Israel went whoring after it there, and it became a snare to Gideon and to his house. So he made this shoulder ornament and put it up in Ophrah, and everybody came and started worshiping the thing. And it became a snare to Gideon and his house. Verse 28, thus Midian was humbled before the children of Israel, and they lifted their heads no more. And the land had rest for 40 years in the days of Gideon. And Jerubbaal, son of Joash, went and dwelt in his own house. So Gideon just went home. And Gideon had 70 sons, who were his own offspring, for he had many wives. And his concubine, who was in Shechem, also bore him a son, and he gave him the name Abimelech. And Gideon, son of Joash, died at a good old age, and was buried in the burial site of Joash his father, in Ophrah of the Abiezrites. And it came to be, when Gideon was dead, that the children of Israel again went whoring after the Baals, and made Baal Berith their mighty one. So, as soon as Gideon was dead, they started all the idol worship and worshiping Baal all over again. Jeez. Verse 34. Thus the children of Israel did not remember Yahuwah their Elohim, who had delivered them from the hands of all their enemies round about. nor did they show loving commitment to the house of Jerubbaal, Gideon, according to all the good which he did for Yisrael. That's the end of chapter 8. Chapter 9. And Abimelech, son of Jerubbaal, went to Shechem, to his mother's brothers, and spoke with them, and with all the clan of the house of his mother's father, saying, okay, so Abimelech didn't go to his father's house, he went to his mother's house, the concubine, and started chatting with all her family. Verse 2, please speak in the hearing of all the masters of Shechem, which is better for you that 70 men, all the sons of Jerubbaal, rule over you, or that one man rule over you. And you shall remember that I am your own flesh and bone. So he's saying, would you rather have the 70 sons of Gideon ruling over you, who are strangers to you, or me, who I'm related to you? Verse 3, and his mother's brothers spoke all these words concerning him in the hearing of all the masters of Shechem, and their heart inclined toward Abimelech, for they said, he is our brother. And they gave him 70 pieces of silver from the house of Baal-berith, with which Abimelech hired worthless and reckless men, and they followed him. He hired a bunch of mercenaries. Verse 5, and he went to his father's house at Ophrah, and killed his brothers, the 70 sons of Jerubbaal, on one stone. But Jotham, the youngest son of Jerubbaal, was left, because he hid himself. And all the masters of Shechem gathered together, and all of Beth Millo, and they went and made Abimelech sovereign beside the terebinth tree at the post that was in Shechem. And they informed Jotham, and he went and stood on top of Mount Gerizim, and lifted his voice and cried out, and said to them, hear me, you masters of Shechem, and let Elohim hear you. The trees went forth to anoint a sovereign over them, and they said to the olive tree, reign over us. And the olive tree said to them, shall I leave my oil, with which they esteem mighty ones and men, to go sway over trees? Then the tree said to the fig tree, come, reign over us. And the fig tree said to them, shall I leave my sweetness and my good fruit, and go to sway over trees? Then the tree said to the vine, come, reign over us. And the vine said to them, shall I leave my new wine, which rejoices mighty ones and men, and go to sway over trees? Then all the trees said to the bramble, come, reign over us. And the bramble said to the trees, if in truth you anoint me as sovereign over you, come, take shelter in my shade. But if not, let fire come out of the bramble, and devour the cedars of Lebanon. And now, if you have acted in truth and integrity in setting up Abimelech to reign, and if you have acted well with Jerubbaal and his house, and have done to him as his hand did to you. For my father fought for you, and risked his life, and delivered you out of the hand of Midian. But you have risen up against my father's house today, and killed his 70 sons on one stone, and set up Abimelech, the son of his female servant, to reign over the masters of Shechem, because he is your brother. If then you have acted in truth and integrity with Jerubbaal, and with his house this day, then rejoice in Abimelech, and let him also rejoice in you. But if not, let fire come out from Abimelech, and devour the masters of Shechem and Beth Millo, and let fire come out from the masters of Shechem, and from Beth Milel, and devour Abimelech. Then Jotham ran away and fled, and he went to Beer, and dwelt there, for fear of Abimelech his brother. And Abimelech governed Israel 3 years. And Elohim sent an evil spirit between Abimelech and the masters of Shechem, and the masters of Shechem acted treacherously against Abimelech, in order that the violence done to the 70 sons of Jerubbaal might come, and their blood be laid on Abimelech their brother, who killed them, and on the masters of Shechem, who strengthened his hand to kill his brothers. And the masters of Shechem set men in ambush against him on the tops of the mountains, and they robbed all who passed over by them along the way. And it was reported to Abimelech. And Gaal, son of Ebed, came with his brothers and passed over to Shechem. And the masters of Shechem put their trust in him. So they ditched Abimelech and took this Gaal guy. Verse 27, and went out into the fields, and gathered their vineyards, and trod out, and held a feast. And they went into the house of the Mighty One, and ate and drank, and cursed Abimelech. And Gaal, son of Ebed, said, who is Abimelech, and who is Shechem, that we should serve him? Is he not the son of Jerubbaal, and is not Zebul his officer? Serve the men of Hamor, the father of Shechem. But why should we serve him? If only this people were under my hand, then I would remove Abimelech. And he said to Abimelech, increase your army and come out. And when Zebul, the governor of the city, heard the words of Gaal, son of Ebed, his displeasure burned. And he sent messengers to Abimelech by deceit, saying, see, Gaal, son of Ebed, and his brothers have come to Shechem, and see, they are besieging the city against you. And now, get up by night, you and the people who are with you, and lie in wait in the field. Oh boy, here we go. Verse 33, and it shall be as soon as the sun is up in the morning, then rise early and rush upon the city, and see, when he and the people who are with him come out against you, you shall do to them as your hand finds to do. There's strategy going on all over the place here. Verse 34, and Abimelech and all the people who were with him rose up by night and laid in wait against Shechem in 4 companies. Now Gaal, son of Ebed, went out and stood in the entrance to the city gate, and Abimelech and the people who were with him rose from lying in wait. And when Gaal saw the people, he said to Zebul, see, people are coming down from the tops of the mountains. But Zebul said to him, you are seeing the shadows of the mountains like men. And Gaal spoke again and said, see, people are coming down from the high part of the land, and another company is coming from the diviner's terebinth tree. And Zebul said to him, now where is your mouth with which you said, who is Abimelech that we should serve him? Are not these the people who you despised? I beg you, go out and fight them now. So Gaal went out, leading the masters of Shechem, and fought Abimelech. And Abimelech pursued him, and he fled from him, and many fell wounded, up to the entrance of the gate. And Abimelech stayed at Arumah, and Zebul drove out Gaal and his brothers, so that they would not dwell in Shechem. And it came to be the next day that the people went out into the field, and they informed Abimelech. And he took his people, and divided them into 3 companies, and laid in wait in the field, and looked, and saw the people coming out of the city, and he rose against them, and struck them. And Abimelech and the company that was with him rushed forward, and stood at the entrance of the gate of the city, and the other 2 companies rushed upon all who were in the fields, and struck them. And Abimelech fought against the city all that day, and captured the city and killed the people who were in it. And he broke down the city and sowed it with salt. So he salted the field so that they couldn't grow anything. Verse 46, and all the masters of the tower of Shechem had heard that, and entered the stronghold of the house of El-Berith. And it was reported to Abimelech that all the masters of the tower of Shechem were gathered together. So Abimelech went up to Mount Talmon, he and all the people who were with him. And Abimelech took an axe in his hand and cut down a branch from the trees, and took it and laid it on his shoulder. Then he said to the people who were with him, what you have seen me do, hurry, do as I have done. And all the people likewise cut down each one his own branch, and followed Abimelech, and put them against the stronghold, and set the stronghold on fire above them, so that the men of the tower of Shechem died, about 1,000 men and women. And Abimelech then went to Thebes, and he encamped against Thebes, and captured it. However, there was a strong tower in the city, and all the men and women and all the masters of the city fled there, and shut themselves in, and went up to the top of the tower. And Abimelech came to the tower, and fought against it, and approached the door of the tower to burn it with fire, same way as they did before. Verse 53, but a certain woman dropped an upper millstone on the head of Abimelech, and crushed his skull. He then immediately called the young man, his armor-bearer, and said to him, draw your sword and kill me, lest men say of me, a woman killed him. And his young man thrust him through, and he died. And when the men of Israel saw that Abimelech was dead, each one went to his own place. They all went home. Thus did Elohim repay the evil of Abimelech, which he had done to his father, to kill his 70 brothers. And all the evil of the men of Shechem Elohim turned back on their own heads, and the curse of Jotham, son of Jerubbaal, came on them. And that's the end of chapter 9. Wow. Wow. Well, you know, gang, there's a lot of violence there. But it's not unrighteous violence. Here you have a people that are being judged again because of worshiping Baal, and the chain of events that take place because of all of that. And then after Gilead gets them straightened out, Jerubbaal gets them squared away, for 40 years they're okay, but as soon as he dies, then chaos ensues again. And it keeps happening over and over and over. They just forget Elohim. But Yahuwah doesn't forget them. Yahuwah keeps sending them judges to try to get them squared away. But as soon as that judge dies, they just go crazy again. They always go back to worshiping Baal. It's just crazy. It's absolutely insane. But look at today. Look at today. Look at all the people that worship their own Baal. There's so many idols that people worship in this world, especially in this country. It's crazy. And very, very few worship Elohim. Well, gang, that's all I've got for tonight. I hope y'all enjoyed the study, and I hope you're getting something out of it and learning wisdom and knowledge. And it's a good study. There's a lot to learn about all of this. First of all, learn that it's not the beta males that are going to do anything to help the people. The beta males are going to curl up in a ball and cry. It's the alphas that are going to be chosen to go out and fight for the people, for Yah's people. So, all of these churches, these pastors that preach, oh, you're just supposed to be peaceful and loving and da-da-da-da-da. Well, yeah, peaceful and loving until it comes down to it that you have to exert some fierceness in the name of Yah, righteous anger. Phew. There's plenty of reasons to be righteously angry right now. Look what they're doing to the children. Look what they're doing to the people. Look at what these elites are doing. Your government officials are all rotten to the core. And I don't care if you're a lib or you're a conservative. It doesn't matter, because they are two wings of the same stinking bird. They're all corrupt. All of them. None of them should be trusted with anything. Think about it. Think about all of it. Put it towards your Bible. Pray over it. You know what needs to be done. We just need everybody to do it. We need everyone to repent, to seek Yahuwah, to declare Yahusha, their Messiah, the Hamashiach, and pray. That's the only thing that's going to save this country or this world, is everyone repents. We're in judgment, gang. We are under the judgment. The tribulation is at hand. Please, help others. Help others who are seeking. I get a very small crowd. There's not very many that watch these videos. But you can do your part too. Anyone that you know that is seeking, sit down with them. Read the Bible with them. Teach them. Get them firm in their belief. Get them firm in the Torah so that they know. Help them. Help each other. That's all you can do, is help each other. Love your brother as you love yourself. But love Yahuwah Elohim above everything, mind, body, and soul. But we need to help each other. Teach your children. If not, we're going to lose them. We are going to lose the kids, the little ones. Because this world is against them. It's against you too. But it's really against the children. So help them. Teach them. Live the Word. Live it every day. Live Torah. Alright, gang. That's all I've got. Y'all have a great rest of your week. And we will see you on Shabbat for our next study. Alright? Alright. Bless each and every one of you who are seeking knowledge and wisdom through Yahuwah Elohim. Shalom.